Hello everybody, and welcome to the very first video edition of Yoga by Laura. Today I will be explaining a posture called downward facing dog. This is an extremely common posture in yoga. I don't think I've ever been to a class where we didn't do it at least once. Usually we're in and out of it the entire time. It's a great posture because you're using your entire body, you're working your legs, your arms, your core, everything's involved. It's also a very calming posture. A lot of classes will use downward facing dog in between other postures as sort of a resting place. It's also a very balancing pose. You're balancing the top of the body with the bottom of the body and the right and left sides of the body. So with that, I will get started on explaining how you do downward facing dog. When you first come into downward dog, especially if this is the first time you've done this posture, you'll want to start in a tabletop position. You can begin by tucking the toes behind you and then press into the palms, maybe walking the hands forward a few inches, and then send the hips up and back into space, straightening the legs as well as the arms, coming into sort of an upside down V shape. The feet should be about hips distance apart. You really want to press the heels down into the mat here. Some people's heels will touch the mat, others will not. It really doesn't matter, just as long as you're pressing them in that direction. You really want to activate all the leg muscles here, pulling them into the bones. You may even want to slightly pigeon toe the feet. This will help you to feel a nice stretch along the inner thigh. In downward facing dog, you'll want to press the hips up and backward as much as possible in this posture. It helps to stretch the backs of the legs as well as elongate the spine. Speaking of the spine, you want to make sure it's in one nice straight long line all the way from the crown of the head to the tip of the tailbone. Your hands should be about shoulder width apart, fingers spread nice and wide. You want to ground down into the palms of the hands while also trying to make sure your weight is in between the thumb and the index finger as much as possible. When it comes to the arms, you want to make sure that you're not hyperextending them at all. This is when your bones straighten a little bit past straight. It's really not healthy for the bones, so you want to have a slight bend in the elbow to let the blood and oxygen flow freely through the body. As you ground down into the palms, you also want to press up through the shoulders, pulling the shoulder blades down the back, moving them away from the ears, and spread the collarbones to help open up the heart. You'll also want to work to rotate the upper arms outward and bring the armpits in to almost face each other. You want to make sure there's no tension in the neck. You should be able to shake the head yes and no very freely. You don't want to lift the head up too high or tuck the chin too far in this posture. You also want to make sure you're pulling the belly back towards the spine, engaging the core to help strengthen it as well as keep you stable in this posture. You want to make sure your weight is evenly distributed between the back of the body as well as the front of the body, and also between the right and left sides of the body. When you first come into this posture, you may want to walk the dog, as they say. This simply means you'll bend one knee at a time, stretching out the back of the opposite leg to ease into the posture. The final step of this posture, and by far the most important step, is to breathe. You want to make sure that you're taking nice, deep, cleansing breaths in and out through the nose the entire time you hold this posture. That is all I have for you guys today on Downward Facing Dog. I hope you enjoyed the video. I don't know if I'll have time to make videos for every single blog I do, But if you guys really enjoyed it, you can leave me a comment or something and let me know, and I will see what I can do.